What's up, YouTube? Jujutsu Kaisen 244 is out. And how the chapter starts with Yuji and Higuruma arriving to face Sakuna. We then switch back to a flashback where all the sorcerers were having a meeting to finalize their plan. So this looks like it takes place right before Gojo and Sakuna fought, and Kusakabe says that they need to choose who's going to fight Sakuna and who won't. Kashimo lashes at him, saying it's an all out war and everyone should fight. But Kusakabe replies by informing them that Miwa can't fight due to the binding vow she made in Shibuya that she'll never swing her sword again. This binding vow was made back in chapter 134 when she put her all into killing Kenjaku, but he broke that with his bare hair so easily. So that was like real crazy. So she made that binding vow for nothing. That's why she called herself Useless Miwa. I think I'm saying her name right. But when we're talking about Kenjaku, they plan to make him lower his guard and have Yuta finish him off. After this, Yuta is supposed to hurry back over to continue to fight with Sakuna. That is a fight I actually want to see. However, they will only go with this plan if Gojo loses the fight. Kusakabe explains that he believes cursed energy can prevent the current players from being merged with Tengen. He also explains that Kenjaku will start hunting down other players. But Noritoshi Kamu, who is also present in the meeting, apologized and said he won't partake in this mission. He mentions that he wants to watch over his family as much as possible and will leave the country with them. He's nervous. He don't want no smoke with Sakuna. He's not trying to die. And Kusakabe is cool with it and just says those who can use reverse curse techniques, those who want to die, or those who are okay with dying will join the battle while the rest will stay for support. Yuji tries to console Kamu, and he says that he has learned a lot of things from his senior. So Noritoshi helped out a lot. He also emphasizes that Choso is a bad teacher, which has Choso with a dumbfounded look up on hearing that. Like, dang, you gonna diss your brother like that? But Higuruma volunteers to go after Kashimo. He plans to use his curse technique judgment to compensate Sukuna's curse technique. So that's like that loophole that they're going to do to try to get rid of, I believe, Sukuna's dimensional slash. And Higuruba explains that if Sakuna gets the death penalty, he can use the executioner sword that if it hits you, it's instant death. But Kashimo is actually getting mad about this because he's saying, are you seriously think I'm going to lose? Because Kashimo doesn't think he's going to lose. And Hikari is consoling him, telling him this is just a worst case scenario. And he's thanking him for giving up his spot to Satoru Gojo, which Kashimo is still not satisfied with. But we all know what happened to Kashimo. It wasn't even, let's say, 5 seconds before he got throttled. Kusakabe asks if Haguro can castigate and lay the death penalty for sure. And then Yuji says that it depends on which charge judgment will use. He mentions that Higuruma does not decide what allegations to use. Yuji says that Sakuna has switched 3 times so far, has killed many people on every switch. Higuruma summarizes Sakuna crime so far as the following: is in Itadori's high school. He harmed Itadori when he took over his body. The attempted murder of Satoru Gojo in the juvenile home. He murdered Itadori, which is the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen, where he pulled out his heart. Attempted murder on Megami Fushiguro. Then at Shibuya, he murdered the 2 curse users, the high school girls. He attempted murder of several citizens. Murdering of curse users with Saito's committed arson. The list goes on and on at all these crimes that Sakuna has committed. And all of these will depend on the situation with Megami. He further mentions that the the crimes that Sakuna commit will be hard to do because in any normal thing, Sakuna will get the death penalty. But Higuruma's curse technique can only choose one crime at a time, and the charges one penalty at a time. So it can do some off the wall like property damage. So he could have said, "Hey, Yuji, I switched bodies with you, but I slashed your clothes." That's something that judgment may potentially be able to charge. So what they're trying to do also, they talk about 1,000 years ago when Sakuna committed crimes 1,000 years ago. But under modern laws, that wouldn't work because 1,000 years ago, the Euro code didn't have a statute of limitations back then. So if Higuruma thinks it's impossible, Judgment, who's a Shikigami, who's equipped with Higuruma's curse technique, will also think it's impossible if Higuruma thinks it's impossible. Higuruma then mentions that he didn't know which curse technique of Sukuna will get confiscated because even under the laws, he may get rid of at least one, like take away his curse energy or whatever it be, which would be a good strategy to get rid of Sukuna's dimensional slash because that's just OP as hell. Yuji then suddenly mentions that there might be a way to confirm Sukuna getting the death penalty. And the chapter then begins its focus on the fight where we see Mei's crow near Sukuna, but it gets destroyed by the Vajra. Mei realizes that her crow will not work on the likes of Satoru Gojo, Kenjaku, and Sakuna because they're all on a different level. However, she was able to distract Sakuna for a bit, and everything is now up to Higuruma with the strategy that they had came up with. Higuruma managed to break Sakuna's stance with his huge hammer, and Yuji throwing debris towards him by crushing them. And Higuruma ended up grabbing the Vajra, which is really amazing that Higuruma was able to do that because I'm actually surprised he was able to bind Sakuna's weapon. And then Yuji, which is the craziest thing, lands a heavy hit punch on Sakuna that even though Sakuna saw it and blocked it, he rocked Sakuna, which shocks even Sakuna, and he's wondering what was going on with Yuji's punches. That's when Higuruma activates his domain expansion, deadly sentencing against Sakuna. And that's when we switch back to the flashback where Yuji says they can use the trial from the time that they both fought to use against Sakuna, where Higuruma put Yuji on trial. But in this instance, as the co-defendant to sentence Sakuna. So we're back to the present with the trial began against Yuji and Sakuna, where judge will say Yuji is suspected of mass murder in Shibuya. However, Higuruma defends you by saying that true criminal, which is Ryomen Sukuna. And this is how the chapter ends. I am so excited for Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen has been going hard. And let me know what you think in the comment section. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, y'all.